Chapter 3, Lesson 4, Multiplying Integers. You know how to multiply. Good. You pretty much have this section mastered already. Okay, because that's the first part, is just being able to multiply. All right. So, few things I have first, though, is I want to talk about what we did the last 2 days. Okay, what we did the last for adding and subtracting integers. Now, here's the big thing. I noticed a lot of us want to keep, change for everything. When are the only times that you want to keep, change? What's the only time you want to keep, change? When you're doing what? You're doing what? Yeah, Ella. When you're subtracting and when you have a negative in it. Good job. So, like, I had people trying to use keep, change here. Do we need to use keep, change there? No. Keep, change makes everything an addition problem. Because we want everything to be an addition problem. That makes it easy for us. So if it's already an addition problem, we don't have to do that. So let's start with this one. Negative 6 minus 8. Somebody tell me what you think I should do for this problem. Alyssa. Okay, so what am I keeping? What am I changing? Okay. Okay, and then what am I going to do with the 8? Okay, so this is what it looks like. Negative 6 plus negative 8. Now, if you think about it, it's all cats, right? So it's all 6 cats, it's 8 cats. How many cats am I going to have all together? Yep, so negative 14 is my answer here. Nice job. Nice job. Let's talk about this one. 9 plus negative 5. Now, if you know the answer, you can just tell me if you want. 9 plus negative 5. What is the answer to 9 plus negative 5, Brooklyn? 4. Nice job. Let's talk about this one. Negative 8 minus negative 10. What am I going to do here? What do you think? Yeah, what? Keep, change. So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to change this to an addition. I'm going to change this. So this is what it looks like. Negative 8 plus 10. What's negative 8 plus 10? Henry. 2. Good job. Nice work. 2. Let's go up here. Negative 7 plus negative 11. If we know that one. Negative 7 plus negative 11. Think of cats and dogs is pretty simple. Anybody else? I'm waiting. Some of you know the answer, you just don't want to say it. Elena? Negative 18. Good. It's all cats. Nice job. Okay, let's go to this one. Negative 5 plus negative. This is kind of the same problem if you look at it. I mean, they're pretty much the same. We do them the same way. Negative 5 plus negative 13. Haley. Negative 18. Nice work. What about this one? 6 minus 9. 6 minus 9. Alex. Negative 3. Some of us just know that by just looking at it. 6 minus 9, I have 3 left, negative 3. Or you can do your keep, change here. Keep, change, and this is what it looks like. And it gives us the same negative 3. So are we kind of comfortable with this? We'll probably come back and review it again so we don't forget. Alright, so today is multiplying integers. So the first 2 things you have to have in your notebook is this. These 2 things. And then I'm going to get rid of this because we're going to talk about that more tomorrow. Okay, so the product of 2 numbers with the same sign is positive, and the product of 2 numbers with a different sign is negative. What's the word product mean? What's the word product mean? Elena. Answer to a multiplication problem. Good job. And I'll talk more about this after you get it written. more people that like to see pictures in here. Like, you like to look at a picture. You don't want to read words. Like, I only have one. I bet I have way more than one person in here that likes to see pictures. Okay. So I'm actually going to show you a picture that I drew so you can figure out what this means. So you don't have to copy this, but I'm going to show you my picture in a second. I'll draw it for you. So I like to see things out in black and white. Like, I like to just look at it. I don't like to read a book about it. I just want to look at it and know what's going on. So this is my version of what I just showed you in a picture, though. So if I'm going to multiply two positives, my answer is going to be positive. If I'm going to multiply two different signs, guess what's my answer is going to be? Negative. If I multiply two of the same sign again, my answer is positive. So if you want to write something like this in your notebook, this is what I'm going to have you do. Plus sign equals plus. So I'm multiplying two plus signs, it's going to equal a positive. If I'm going to multiply two different signs, guess what? It's going to be a negative. It doesn't matter what order they're in. If you just have a positive and a negative, your answer is always going to be negative. And if I'm going to multiply two negative signs, guess what? It's a positive. So this is a picture format of what you just wrote in your notebook. So if you don't need it, fine. If you'd rather have the words, fine. But if you'd rather see in a picture form, and sometimes it's a good idea to like maybe put it on your homework so you don't forget, or I don't know, maybe at the top of your test when it comes around. But this is just a good thing you can just look at and say, okay, if I have two positives, it's a positive, two negatives, it's a positive, two different signs, it's a negative. I have so many people that get these rules mixed up with keep, change, with just adding and subtracting in general. So this is only for multiplication. Okay, it's not for adding and subtracting. It's only for multiplication. That's it. Now let's look at, anybody need this yet? You don't have to write down the whole chart if you want. We still need this? Okay. So first of all, before we do some practice, let's talk about multiplication. What are some different ways that you can see multiplication in problems? What's a way you can see multiplication in them? Aiden. Okay, parentheses. And I'm going to show you a few different ways you can use parentheses. So parentheses is my first way. So here's an example. You could have something that looks like this, or they could both be in parentheses. Yeah, that's two ways to show multiplication. Okay? What's another way you can see multiplication? Brooklyn. A dot. So an example of what is that? There we go. So if I have 3 times 4, that's another way they're going to show it. What's the last way? What's another way? The easiest way, the way you've been seeing since 4th grade. Yeah. X. Okay? Now here's the thing. You're getting older now, and you're going to be starting to take algebra classes, and that's kind of what we're working with right now, actually, is algebra. And they're going to start not using this. They're going to start not using this. Does anybody have a guess of why you're not going to see the X anymore? Huh? Too easy, maybe. Anybody else have a guess of why you maybe won't see this anymore? What does it look like? Looks like an X. What's in the alphabet? An X. And a lot of times, guess what we use in algebra? An X for like a variable. So a lot of times they aren't going to use this anymore because that looks like a variable and they don't want you to get confused. So guess what? These are the two things that you're going to see a lot. You're going to see the parentheses and you're going to see that dot from now on. So I just want to make sure you know that's going to mean multiplication. All right, so let's practice here. Oops. Let's practice. So if I were you, I'd write down some examples in your notebook, okay? Because a lot of you are like, oh, I'm going to remember this, but as soon as you get to January, you're going to say, I don't remember this. So make sure you write some examples down in your notebook. So I'll wait. Well, I'm going to start with this one first. I'm going to go down. I'm going to do this one, that one, and that one. So let's start with this one. So here's how you do this. All of you told me you could multiply, and that's going to be the first step. So 9 times 2 is what? 18. Perfect. You have half of it done already. The second part is you're going to look to see what sign it needs to be. So you multiply the negative and a positive. So what does that tell me 18 has to be, Dylan? Negative. So then you're going to put your sign there. Done. Over. That's it. You already know how to do 50% of it because you know how to multiply. Now you just need to remember how to figure out what sign it's going to be. Okay? So let's talk about this one. I have negative 5 times negative 5. First step to multiply. 5 times 5 is 20 what? You can say it like out. 25, yeah. Okay, now I'm going to look at it. I have a negative and a negative. If I multiply two negatives together according to my rule, what sign is my answer going to be, Kate? Positive. So guess what? I'm just going to leave it. If you want to write it like this or like this, that's fine. Really, the only one that ever needs a sign in front is the negative ones. Okay, so if you just want to leave it as 25, you can leave it as 25. Okay, so then I get to sum with 3. Start simple. Do the first two first. Okay, so 6 times 2 is? Anybody? 12. Okay. Is it going to be positive or negative? Negative. How do you know? 6 is negative, 2 is positive. Positive and negative always makes a negative. Okay? So then I'm going to take negative 12 times negative 3. Anybody know what 12 times 3 is off the top of their head? Henry? Nice work. 36. Now, is it going to be a positive or negative? Positive, because I have 2 negatives. Good job. That's my answer right there. So are you thinking like this is really easy? Like it should be, because you should know how to do most of it. You just multiplying and then figuring out your sign. All right, let's do this one. I have 4 times negative 2. It's 4 times negative 2. Ella? Okay, good, because she did 4 times 2, had to have the negative, and good job. Now I have negative 8 times negative 3. 8 times 3 is? Tail. Nice work. Positive or negative? Nice work. Nice job. So how are we feeling so far? Not too bad, right? Can I give you some to do on your own in your notebook? Okay, let's do that. I'm going to give you a few to do on your own in your notebook. And let's do. Okay, so I have 2 with just 2 numbers, and the last 2 have 3. Get them a whirl in your notebook. Make sure you're doing your multiplication, then look back to see what sign it needs to be. Make sure, once you're done, go back and make sure your signs are right. Okay? Once you're done, go back and make sure your signs are right. I see some people whose signs are incorrect while I'm walking around. Go back and make sure your signs are right. You're just sitting and waiting. Give you a few more seconds to finish up. right, let's get started. So I'm looking at the top one. 3 times negative 5. 3 times negative 5. What do you have for that answer, Dylan? Negative 15. I agree with him. Do you agree with him? Yep. Two negative and a positive should be a negative 15. Good job. Let's go to the next one. Negative 4 times negative 10. Kale. Positive 40. Nice work. Two negatives equal a positive. Way to go. Positive 40. Now let's go down to the ones with 3, because I think this is where some of us were in trouble here. So negative 3 times negative 2. Let's just do this one first. Negative 3 times negative 2 is what? Positive 6. Now positive 6 times negative 5. Positive 6 times negative 5. Aiden? Negative 30. Nice job. That should have been your answer for that one. Nice work. Nice job. Are some of us getting our signs mixed up? Yep. That's what you got to be so careful of your signs today. So careful. Let's go to this one. Negative 4 times negative 6. That one. Negative 4 times negative 6. Ella? 24. I have two negatives and it's equal to positive times negative 2. I kind of made it kind of big. Times negative 2. 8. Negative 48. Nice work. If you missed some of your signs, go back and figure out what you did if you have not already done so. Okay? Because today when you get your homework, I'm going to mark them wrong if you don't get your signs correct. Because that's a big part of today. Like, that's like the main focus of today is getting your signs right. I'm going to do a few story problems with you quick. And, oh shoot, yes, we should do these two before I forget. What does that mean? What does this mean? 4 and then a little 2. Alex? Okay, it does not mean this. This is what it doesn't mean. That does not mean that. Okay, so that little number is called an exponent, and that tells me how many times I'm going to take that number times itself. So really, this looks like this. That's what it looks like. Does that make sense? Has everybody seen this before? Okay, now I'm going to solve it. Well, what's negative 4 times negative 4? Dylan? Yep. Okay, that's what it means. There's like maybe 1 or 2 of these in your homework today, so I just wanted to touch on them briefly. Okay, what about this one? What does this one mean? What does that one mean? Somebody I haven't heard from yet today. I've heard from a lot of people, but now haven't heard from a few of you. What does that mean? Negative 3 to the 3rd power. Alyssa? Negative 3 times negative 3. I'm going to add that negative there. Times negative 3. Good. Now I'm going to solve like I know how to solve. Right? So negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, a positive 9. 9 times the negative 3 should be a negative 27. So careful. If you need to write some things out like this today, write them out like this. Don't just rely on just doing them mentally. Some of you can do that, some of you cannot. Some of you know who you are. If you cannot do it, and you need to see it out, write it out. Don't get it wrong just because you're, I'm going to say it, too lazy to write it out. So if you need to show some work today, okay? All right, then I'm going to show you a story problem. So this is what the story problems look like. Now, in your story problems, there's always going to be a number that needs to be negative. So you got to look for some keywords. What are some keywords that's going to tell me a number's negative? Like below, or what else? Fall, or withdraw, or recede, or I don't know, what do I have up here? Fell, yeah, fall. Okay, so 32 passengers on a roller coaster went through a loop, woo, upside down loop. An average of 65 cents fell out from their pocket. So each person lost an average of 65 cents in their pocket. If I were you, I'd want to be at the bottom of that, catching everybody's money. Okay. How much money did the passengers lose in all? What number up there needs to be negative? What keyword up there is telling me something needs to be negative? Alyssa. 65, because that's what fell out. So 65 cents looks like this. Okay? And 32 people lost 65 cents. How am I going to figure out, in total, what they all lost? What can I do to these two numbers to figure out what they lost all together? Alyssa? let's do 32 times negative 0.65. Then we're just going to do it out. So 15, 16. That should be a 0. I'm going to get myself screwed up there. 12, 19. So I have 0, 8. Okay, and my decimal. So many people don't know where the decimal goes. 2 spaces here, 2 spaces here. And if I'm multiplying a positive and a negative, it's got to be negative. So that's how much money that people lost just one time. I mean, that's 32 people lost going in that roller coaster. That's my answer. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? Okay, so in my next one, here's another one. Does anybody still want this yet? If you want an example, this next example is very short. So if you want an example in your notebook, this is one for you. Okay? So if you want an example, this is a good one. This before a storm, the temperature dropped 2 degrees per hour for 5 hours. What was the total change in temperature? If you want to write it out, you can write it out. If not, it's up to you. It depends what you want in your notebook. Before a storm, the temperature dropped 2 degrees per hour for 5 hours. What was the total change in temperature? So looking up here, you want me to wait to do it until you guys are done writing? Okay, I'll wait until you're done. Let me know when you're ready. Everybody ready? Need another second? Alright. What number up here needs to be negative? What's the key word up here that's telling you something needs to be negative? Aiden. Okay, dropped 2, right? So it went down 2 degrees every hour. It went down 2 degrees every hour for 5 hours. It wants to know how many degrees it fell in 5 hours. So guess what we're going to do? 5 times 2 is 10. Positive or negative? Negative. That's your answer. It dropped 10 degrees in that 5 hours. So every single one you have today that's a story problem, one of those numbers is going to be negative. You have to figure out the key word. To what number it's going to be negative. Okay? Does anybody have questions for me? Did you take some good notes so you can go back and look?